Everybody. We are working today to start to put away the gardens a little bit, clean them up a little bit. There is a lot of work to be done in the garden, but we're kind of at that point where, like, I don't want to cut stuff down. Like, okay, example, this sunflower, it's got so many seeds in it, so the birds are in here, and I know the chickens love it. And so, like, I go in, I've been walking into the garden and then thinking, oh, like, I shouldn't do that today, or I don't want to do that today, i.e. that's like picking the dandelion weeds out. So we're just gonna go in and do a little odds and sods. I'm going to cover up this compost. I'm just gonna go get some chicken coop clean out to cover that up. And these other two compost bays behind me, these ones, still have awesome sunflowers, and there is the only squash plant that grew here this year, the volunteer. It's a acorn squash. So I'm leaving those. So I can't kind of empty those out yet until those plants are dead. We've had two frosts, not hard at all, like just like patchy frosts. So we are still kind of in growing mode here, but stuff is slowing down. So I'm going to go into the garden, check it out. I'm just going to kind of try and tidy stuff up a little bit and make the pathway so that we can walk through, probably get out the big loppers, cut down any sunflower stalks where I've removed the heads to feed to the chickens. And just get a general consensus. All of the cabbage beds, all of the cabbages have been eaten now. So they are basically just the plants left, and they've started to resprout. But there's not a lot to do, but kind of in pause mode. It's so pretty right now. Like, camera never does this justice, but like, it's just so beautiful in here. I don't really want to take anything out, but like, I've got two sunflowers that are laid down, like right there. Those are laying down. So I'll go see what I can do there. It's kind of sad. But the bees are still very abundant out and about, so that's kind of nice. Freaking love bees. Right now, I am doing something. I'm going to clean up what's left of my onions. I've eaten a lot of onions. Okay, check this out though. Look at this thing. This is a volunteer acorn squash. Look at the size of that. Oh, shoot. It's not ripe yet. But look, it looks like a bum. I guess I'll have to put that on to ripen. That's too bad. I should have left well enough alone. It's weird, actually, to think that I'm going to buy onions this year. I haven't bought onions for 3 or 4 years now. So it's kind of nuts to think that I'm actually going to have to buy onions. It's okay. I knew that was going to be the case, but I just clean these kind of like I do garlic. Sometimes I've not cleaned them, but it makes a mess in our basement because I store them in these crates. So I'm just taking the couple outer layers off, like that come off naturally, and getting any soil off for the most part. This has been a weird gardening year, to say the least. Come on. Just like not being here and then getting the motivation to kind of get the garden back into shape, which I never did. So it's wild, but it's still good. Like, we have been eating so much food out of the garden. My friend Deanna posted a really cool reel the other day about getting home from work, and she's a mom, and looking in her fridge and feeling that despair of, oh man, what are we gonna eat? And she just walked out to her garden, grabbed this and that, and came inside and made a beautiful meal. So we have also been able to do that this season, which is amazing. And I'm grateful for the food that we have been able to eat, but we definitely are probably going to have to grocery shop more this year than in years past, but that's okay. We do still have a lot of canned goods, which is amazing. We have plenty of pasta sauce. We have plenty of canned corn. We have, what else do we got down there? We got some canned potatoes still, but we just harvested, I don't know, maybe 50 pounds of potatoes. So we should be good on the potato front here for a bit. But yeah, we have a couple of squash down in the basement still left from last year. And then we have these acorn squash. So if we need squash, I'll have to buy that. I actually do have some frozen squash, which is good. But yeah, and I have some sauerkraut in the fridge, so that won't last very long. So we'll definitely have to buy cabbage. But yeah, it's season's winding down. I'm looking over at all the sugar maples in our bush, and I can see they're starting to turn color. So that is the sign. Here, let me show you. I'll show you. You can see those sugar maples out front starting to turn color. So that's the sign. Yeah, so, and then I can see what's going to happen here. It's like feast and famine right now. I'm going to peck away at doing some of this work. I can see the dogs are in the garden. I haven't been shutting the latch. They go in and help themselves to beans. Yeah, like there's going to be a weekend, I'm sure, where I'm going to have to just put my head down, get everything, what's in there, harvested if there's anything left. Like really, all that's left is Brussels sprouts and some tomatoes and peppers. Really, that's all we've had. And the Brussels sprouts aren't that great, like I've said before. So I don't know how many of those I'm actually going to be able to salvage. But it's okay. It was my first year growing them, so I call it like the learning year for Brussels sprouts. We probably will get a fire going here shortly and burn all of my tomato plants just because they get blight. So I don't put those back in the compost at all. But yeah, so let's go do some stuff here. So that's all I have left from all of the onions that I grew. We've just been using them up, and I've made a ton of that roasted tomato, basil, and garlic soup. I know you guys are sick of hearing that, but it was just so darn good. So, but still grateful. That'll last us for a little while. It's funny because there was a bean plant growing out of the compost, and when I make baked beans, I kind of wash the beans, and then any that float or don't look very good, you kind of strain out. And so this bean plant was growing on here all summer, and the dogs were harvesting off it, but I opened it up, oops, and it's Trail of Tears. So that's exciting. So I'll toss these back into the compost, but these composts are ready. So they are actually going to go back into the garden as soon as these plants die. We have been managing for white pine weevil this year on all of our white pines. There's been a ton of it. So those are 2 leaders that I could see were starting to flag because of white pine weevil, which is a little beetle that feeds on the terminal of white pine. So it's good to catch it early, but it basically impacts the long-term growth of the tree if you don't catch it early. So it was good we caught some. I'm about to go down and harvest some trees that have white pine blister rust, which sucks because they are 7 or 10 years old now. So that stinks. And I'm also going to burn the tomato plants. So lots of burning today. right, guys. Well, that's a pretty good harvest for the first day of autumn. Forgot to tell you that. It's the first day of autumn. It's amazing. I thought the chickens were in here. I am not going to rip too much out today, just the tomatoes. Just don't think the garden's ready. I might be ready, but I don't think the garden's ready. I'm just gonna let it die back, let it get hit by a couple of really hard frosts, and then we'll get going on it. So all I have left to do is go get those white pine that have white pine blister rust. So I'll bring you around for that. But look at that, it's amazing. This should be interesting. Tilly lets herself in, but somebody, I'm gonna call this chick Beauty, I think, she snuck in and everybody else is outside, so I gotta try and wrangle her out. Okay, Tilly, come on. You guys can't come in. Okay, just to be clear. Come on, honey. Out you go. Come on. No, don't you guys come in. Come on. Out. Out. Yep, get going. Fancy pants. Out. Come on. I put my basket down out here to go do one more thing in the garden, and I came out and the chickens were pecking on all the tomatoes. This tomato was in my succulent scabbard thing. That's funny. So pro tip, if you have chickens, green tomatoes are poisonous. Ripe tomatoes are not. Poor Beauty. She's having a rough day. So the way you tell whether you have diseased or infested trees is color. At this time of year, it can be hard because it's the fall. But if you look at the color of this white pine and then you look at the color of that white pine, you can clearly see that that white pine is a vibrant green. It has, very dark colored green needles. This one, not so much. So let's go take a closer look. I also need to get my saw. Oh, I didn't bring gloves. Word to the wise. Whenever you're using a handsaw, you should always wear gloves because they are sharp. I forgot mine. So we'll just have to be super careful. Wait a minute. Oh. So I just looked at this little one here too at the base. Let me show you. I'm just gonna take this right off. I can't tell you guys how much this sucks. We worked so hard to plant these trees, and I knew because we have the alternate host, which are ribes species, so currants and gooseberries, like in this hedgerow and on this property and in our neighbors, so it's tough to control. I knew that we would probably get some white pine blister rust, but holy man, this is like, so many of our trees, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so let me just show you what this looks like first. So I have multiple trees planted in this hedgerow, and right now 1, 2, 3, 4 of them just in this little area have white pine blister rust that I can see. So let me show you what this looks like. You'll know anyways because your tree will start turning color, and I just happened to look, but see that resin coming down and how different the bark looks like. That's what the bark should look like, and that's what it does look like. So this I'm going to cut out. So essentially it's a fungus, and this will blister in the spring and release spores to go on infect the alternate host. So if I get it out this year, that's going to help stop the spread. Let me show you this jazzy number. What is that? Oh, shoot. Oh, man. Okay, so I am not gonna take this on because I don't even want to get too close. It also has aphids, and see right there, those are all bald-faced wasps. So I'm not going to tango with this one right now. I'm not gonna even try. There are so many different species of wasps right now, but essentially the aphids, because the tree is stressed, the aphids have moved in and they produce honeydew, which especially bees and ants love. So they are feeding on the honeydew, which is like this sweet sugary substance that the aphids produce. So yeah, I'm not going there right now. Darn. Maybe tomorrow morning when it's super cold, I'll come and cut it. Oh, and a little, hang on, I'll show you. Another little forest pest introduced pine sawfly right there. Yay. So this one definitely has to go. Definitely. And then if you just look here, see those two right there? They're also candidates right now for the saw. So I'm gonna get 3 out of 4 right now and come back another time to get this one so I don't get stung, because bald-faced hornet stings are one of the worst. They're very painful. So not going there today. I'm not feeling it today. Whoop. There's a wasp. The other thing you want to make sure of is after you make cuts on diseased plant tissue of any kind, you should always clean your equipment. So I will spray this off with alcohol and that should kill it. What is that? A little woolly bear? All right, let's go get these other ones. Hey, Toots. Grr. Oh, I found baby. There's a baby. There's a find. Oh, you brought it out with you. That's what. You're not minding your babies. To the fire. Just so you can see what it looks like up close, there's the canker. Yuck. It's a pretty smoky affair. Had to happen. Such a bummer, but it is what it is. We have more trees, so it's okay, and that's part of managing a plantation for sure that has many of the same species. Anyways, hope you're all having a really great weekend and a great start to fall. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.